Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Bob Randall and Company live preview show for Monday, August 7th, 2023. And sitting over here to my side is my best co-host on Mondays that could ever be, Mr. Randall Santa Checker Lee.
Oh, Bob, you're always way too kind, man. Great to see you, Bob. Missed everybody last week. I didn't know what to do with myself last Monday afternoon. It was great, but I'm glad you had a beautiful time with the family and all that, and blessings to the newlyweds and all that. Hope they have many years of happiness. So
I
great to be
did. I
back.
was
Good
I
to see
was I
everybody.
was a little lost myself. It was kind of strange knowing that it was Monday and not preparing for the show and everything. It was a great break and it was
Just beautiful thing, though.
a good time with the family. We really enjoyed it. Went out to dinner and had a great time. And but it's back to work, man. Every time you take a day off, it takes you 3 to 5 to get caught back up from what you left behind. So it's been catch up ever since Branson, and we're still trying to catch up at this point.
I can't believe you were at 2 weeks. I just left a weekend of the red suit, and I
I
want to go to
know.
bed.
I am still. I've been sleeping about an hour extra every night, just trying to get caught up from the lack of sleep for those 2 weeks, 15 days. I'm still catching myself dragging a little bit, but hey, we got to keep going, and the season is closing in on us. Going to
No,
be here before we know it. Yep,
very close, crazy
yep,
close.
yep. That's for sure. Well, we call this and company for a reason. Randy has had the Randall Challenge, magical prop, uh, going on for now for weeks on end, and he's picked the winner. And so we're going to bring in at this point and let this person hang out with us for the rest of the show. And towards the end is where we will reveal his magic prop and backstory. So at this time, let's bring in Ernie.
Hey,
Hi.
everybody.
Hey,
Hey,
Ernie,
Ernie,
what's
great
up?
to have you. Great to have you.
Hey,
So glad
buddy.
you're here.
Well, thanks for having me.
So we were kind of chatting back in the green room before the show for a few minutes about the heat. Gosh, man, down here in Texas, it is summer. It is the dog days. We're in that stretch where anywhere from 6 to 8 to 10 weeks we could be 100 plus, and we're in it in the middle of it with 107, 108 every day now. No rain in 3 weeks. We're baking down here, and Randy revealed to me that their average temperature where he's at is 2 degrees below.
Yeah,
How
we're
cool is that,
actually,
Randy?
that's crazy. For the month of July, they took an average for the month of July of the high temperatures, and we're 2 degrees lower than the average temperature that it usually should be in July, which is crazy. I just feel sad for you guys having 3 weeks of no rain. I mean, the heat's bad enough, but then there's no rain. That just adds so much to everything.
Yeah, we went from everything being green to everything being brown in a matter of
Mm.
days because it just takes all the moisture out of the ground and out of all the vegetation. Now we have a sprinkler system put up around our covered patio flower bed that encases it around three sides, and the flowers still look good as long as we water them twice a day. Early morning and late evening, but everything else is looking pretty decrepit.
Got to make a quick water bill though, and to try to keep, if anybody wants to keep their grass green down there, how do you keep it green in that kind of a, I mean, what's neat about grass, it just goes dormant and it comes back, but
Yeah,
man, just to keep your flower beds or your small shrubs going, man, that
we
water bill just
kind of let the yard go. You try to water twice a week, the yard, 30 minutes, on each side, because I've got two fronts, or one front, one side, and in the back. But try to keep it watered, but it doesn't do any good with the heat the way it is. But
evaporates so
we try to stay
fast.
on top of the flowers if we hate to lose them because we have a lot of them that come back year after year, and so we want to try to save those if we can. But the
Are those
like I said, man,
annuals or perennials? What are they that come back every year? Annuals or perennials? What are those? What are those? I'm not a flower person. I don't know.
well, you know what?
Okay, I should have asked. I'm sorry, Bob.
Annual sounds like that would mean to come back
Come
annually,
back every
right?
year. But is it?
Annuals, yes.
But then what does
So
a perennial mean?
that you have to replace them every year. They only
Okay.
last that season, and
So I wonder what
so
mine mean. Mine will last a couple of weeks. Wonder what they got a word for mine. There's got to be a word for mine. Then here last a couple of weeks.
it's called thirsty.
I bought some in my front entrance. I used to put the bag. I bought the two hanging plants, and I
Hmm.
try to keep them watered, and just they're gone. So I
Yeah,
bought some more. Well, listen, now I was told they were everlasting plants that I bought, not fake. They're everlasting. That's what I have. That's what I have. I put out there now after the real ones. I that purple thumb didn't work very good. You know.
Yeah, if you got real ones in a basket or in a pot that's above ground, you really have to make sure that you stick your finger in there throughout the day and see if there's moisture left because they will dry out and die on you really quick in a pot
Really.
or in a basket. So
Then I feel
at
bad
least
because
with the ground, it still has some water left. It doesn't evaporate as fast, but and then of course it depends on if you got them in direct sunlight or if they're in the shade. I mean, there's so many things that goes into it.
and I
But
know nothing about that stuff. So
what
I
about
bought
you,
the
Artie?
everlasting, and they're going to look pretty until I take the dust off them outside, you know, or hang or put them away for the winter. One of the two.
Artie, you got a green thumb?
Well, not really. Usually, I remember when I was young, we used to go to my uncle's quite a bit and do a lot of gardening. We would help him out. Um, and of course, he had quite a big garden, so he always had a vegetable stand, and whatever
Uh-huh.
he didn't sell, he always gave away to whomever wanted it. So, but and speaking of the weather, it's been very up here in the Northeast in New Hampshire. It's been very, very hot and very wet. It's raining nearly 3, 4 times a week. So we have the actual opposite of what you're going through down there in Texas. Lots of flooding and things like that up in this area.
At you know, the weather patterns have been strange this year. I mean, it kind of seems like every year you find a certain time of the year that things seem off, kilter just a little bit. But I don't know. I don't get it either. And back to our perennial and annuals. I didn't clear that up, by the way. You would think that annuals mean that they come back every year, but they do not. They're only an annual plant that lasts that season and then perish.
Uh,
Perennials are the ones that come back every year.
See,
And
I had no idea.
well, we started getting comments over here. Diane Vien and Carl White was two that popped in real quick and started trying to clear that up for us, and we
Great,
appreciate
thanks,
it.
guys. Thanks,
Sometimes
guys.
I start on a subject and I jump off, and I went to the Gordon Bailey School of Speech. He was notorious for doing the same thing. So,
Thanks
all
to
right,
our.
well,
That's why I'm glad we got people watching all the time. Thank you guys very much. I appreciate that.
they've always got our back. That's for sure.
Thank
All
you.
right, gentlemen. I'll tell you what, man. Let's
It's
go
time.
on and get into our hot topics of the day. Something burger right after this. All right, a quick note here. Scott Parker says, "Spake, Ernie, spake. It's hard to hold your own with these two."
that's okay.
Hey, that's why we love doing what we do. We love to talk. Otherwise,
Yeah.
we'd be sitting here going,
Yeah, it's kind of, but it's the way it is.
"Yeah, for sure."
It's fun.
All
It's
right,
fun
this
to
is
yap.
our hot topic as usual. This is the segment where you guys, chime in, give us what your thoughts are to the question that we pose. Randy goes first, so Randy, it's over to you, brother.
Okay, guys, just because I was at a conference over the weekend, or I guess it's the Red Suit Conclave I was into over the weekend up in Saginaw here by Maps. I just want to pose these. It's actually a few questions, but they're quick answers. What is the most important subject you guys or whoever would like to learn at a school? Maps thing isn't really a school, but kind of wonder what you'd like when you go to a conference or whatever. What would be your most important subject you would like to learn? What would be your least important thing you would like to learn? Some guy says, I'm tired of learning about whiting beards. Someone need to learn about whiting beards. And how many different subjects do you feel should be taught at a school? I mean, we had 9 different classes. That sometimes can, in 2 days, that's kind of can be overwhelming. So kind of curious what your first subject that you would like to see, like you would feel the most important thing to learn at a conference or a school, your least important, and how many classes you think is enough to go through in a few days.
Yeah, and you mentioned that Maps is not a school, but it is a learning opportunity because that's what you guys do. You
Right.
you
Yeah.
you
We
learn, you
like
learn,
to
you learn. And that's exactly, it's a
We-
learning opportunity for
We like to
everyone.
share knowledge and all that. How does that sound?
Uh-huh.
Instead of being we're not a school, we just want to share knowledge and everything else and like-minded people. So, how about
What
you,
you
Bob? You
guys are
got a
doing.
favorite thing you'd like to learn first, or that you think would be number one topic?
Arnie, go ahead.
Go ahead, Ernie.
So I suppose what I would want to learn would be different things to do year after year. Now I'm a fairly new Santa. This is my fourth season, and I've had clients ever since I first started. And you don't want to go back and do the same thing every year. You have to come up with something different. So I suppose, and this is where I get a lot of ideas from the community in general, and the different shows like this and the schools and so forth. But I guess that it's how to enhance your performance, and doing different things when you go, and depending on how long it may be. And that's why I chose to do this year. My visits will incorporate a lot of the knowledge, I guess, I'll give the children on the northern lights, the aurora borealis. So that was something different that I wanted to do this year. And most of my visits, that's going to be the main topic that I'm going to discuss.
Very
Yeah,
So
and Ernie, a lot of guys and Mrs. Clauses and Santas alike have adapted follow-up uh, communication with their clients and asked them if there was something that you did last year that they would like to see you do again, as far as a certain story to read, or say a prop that you used, and or if they would like to see you do something refreshing and new. So that's a good way of finding what your clients like, because they're the ones that you're trying to satisfy.
exactly, and that's a great idea as well, is to do have a follow up. So
Follow
that
up communication with
good. Good. Got a few answers going here. I actually Facebook user. I'm not sure who that is, but we will look to if we can find who that Facebook user is. Whoops. Parker.
Parker.
Says he wants. He says one of his most important things is to learn how to pose for pictures, because it is the art in itself to working for a photographer. It is. We had the Red Suit Conclave on Friday. We had a photographer there Friday from 12 to 5 doing that, walking through that stuff. So of course doing photos for you too, but being a part of that, actually a photographer for that was wonderful. And then AJ, of course, Santa AJ says, I enjoyed everything you learned. It's all valuable. And AJ, thumbs up, man. That is the coolest line. It's all important and it's all great to have that information. And it is. We can learn. And I don't know if there is a one major topic that you want to learn, but AJ, perfect answer. Bart, most important is assistance with legal documents. Wow. Yeah, that's a pretty intense one. That'd be a very cool class to figure out. And of course, photographers also. At least most important would be storytelling for Bart. And the topic gets covered plenty of times. So for Bart, it is the legal and the business end of it, which I don't think many classes really work on the business end of it, or promoting yourself or anything like that. Which it's a good idea, Bart. Good one. And storytelling is on the lower. And there's Hey Rex, good to see you, Rex. Improv is number one for Rex, and I think that should be almost it's a great thing for everybody, because that's all we do anyway. That is our major
Yeah.
thing to do is improv and interact with our, if it's moms, dads, aunts, uncles, sisters, brothers, boys, girls, doesn't matter who it is. We do the improv. Even though we know our backstory, we have to just click it off like it's just like saying what we had for breakfast this morning. It should come out that easy. Um, Carl's next. It'll be Marco. How many clients want to repeat? Yeah, and it's true, Carl. What Bob was talking about, he asked the person, but so many clients, they said, we still want you to read that 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. We just love this thing that it just becomes a classic, especially to some families. So I definitely
Becomes part of the family's tradition.
Yeah.
What they look forward to each year.
Hi, Diane.
Back up to Bart real quick, Randy, before you
I'm
go
sorry.
on. Let me address what he was
Oh yeah, go
speaking
ahead.
of there
Yeah,
about
sorry.
the important things. Now, Sat Bob's is first and foremost was developed as a business course for Santas, and so we cover a lot of the business topics as far as legal documents, filling out
Contracts,
uh,
right? True.
contracts,
Right. Yeah.
the do's and the don'ts on the legal side. So our class covers a lot of that. Uh, get a chance to get out to a Sat Bob's class, or want to have one, put one together. 10 to 12 students normally can bring one of us 5 instructors. You get 15 to 20, you can have 2 instructors. So if you've got some guys in your area, the Santas, Mrs. Clauses, that would be interested in having a school up there that you haven't had before, such as Sat Bob's or any of the others, consider it. Okay, Randy.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, great. I totally forgot that was in the class there. I
Yeah.
apologize. Diane said the same thing. BN same thing is learn about the business end of it. So, well, of course, you're coming to. I don't know if it's going to be part of the curriculum at the North Pole Cornerstones coming up in San Antonio. So that's right around the corner, right after the holidays. So I don't know if you guys are going to put it into there, but that's part of Sat Bob's too. And of course, funny Diane says her least most important is beard care. Well, I hope so. But
She's got a great beard. She doesn't have to worry about it. Hers looks good all the time.
yeah, so that's good, Diane. Yeah, I would be that would be your least most important. Um, and so yeah, so that's I think that's very cool. But the business, I guess I've seen it a few times on here. That would be another one, and Sat Bob's does it. Then I apologize, Bob, for not saying that
No, no, no.
does it. But it's and
That
there's
was that was basically what started Sat Bob's in general. Was the first book is basically all about business. I mean, from A to Z, business in the Red Book, the first book that Gordon wrote through years of research and blogging and keeping notes. And out of the 4 books, that book is money. That book is really the basis for anyone getting started or for anyone who needs a refresher course. I mean, well, we've had guys come into class that's been doing it 20 plus years and said, wow, there's a couple of points I took away that I never considered or didn't know that Gordon thought of that, to put in this book. So,
it's kind of weird.
book
It's
one,
right in the title. It's right in the
yeah,
title. And we,
Santa
we,
and
we
the
always say
business man.
Sat Bobs. We don't usually know that, of course, it's an acronym, you
Yeah,
know. Uh, and the word business is right in the title of Sat
it
Bobs.
is.
And we just say Sat Bobs and then don't literally say that's like math. We just say the acronym instead of the full title, full wording. But you're right,
And,
it says it right in there, the way that
and back
Gordon started it.
And it's
back
a
to
good.
Diane's one point here. She is coming to San Antonio. She's already registered, and those are all things that we're developing at this point. Is the curriculum for North Pole Cornerstones. So stay tuned. We're going to have more information coming on that pretty quick now.
AJ
Yep.
says here, can I add one more thing? How to hold a book correctly from Sherry? Yeah, because that is a big deal to make sure when you're reading a book or telling a story, it's got to be presented properly. That is, and I know she did a wonderful job at SOS there, School of Santa. She really showed how to present a good reading book, how to read a book, not tell a story. There's two different things. Two different things totally between telling a story. Robert Suter, he tells stories. He's a storyteller.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
phenomenal. He doesn't need a book. It's not in the book is just something you read and you just make that book come alive. So yeah,
Yeah,
good job,
and I
AJ.
got to tell you, for those who was in Branson, they can all tell you Shirley Winter's presentation was spot on. It was one of the most talked about presentations of the 4 days. And we have reached out to her, of course, there in Branson and working on trying to bring her to San Antonio also. So just something else to chew on.
Very good, fantastic, guys. As always, just
Speaking of
love this
school,
part of the show because you guys got so much good input and everything else. So thank you so much for adding on. So I think Bob, it's
Yes.
Mr. Bob's turn. Of course, question
Yeah,
number
Arnie, you
two,
got
everybody.
anything to add to what we
Oh
before
yeah.
we move on, or you?
I was just going to say, speaking of schools, I attend school every year. We have Santa Camp, we call it here with
Yeah.
New England Santa Society, and they there's all kinds of course materials from when you first start out preparing for the sleigh, And then when you go back every year, you're always learning something new every single year. There's advanced classes, things like that. This particular year, I'll be at the end of this month. Actually, I'll be going back again, and it's all about enhancing the performance. So that's what I chose to, the class that I chose to do for this year is to enhance that performance. And no matter what, you can always learn something. And not only is it knowledgeable, but it's so much fun. We have such a good time. The camaraderie, the friendships you build, and the knowledge from all the other. You take little bits and pieces from everybody, and
Yeah.
you just kind of make things your own.
That's right. And that's why these two shows, the Monday show and the Tuesday show, for us has always been so near and dear to our heart because it's exactly what we try to do. We try to continuously add what others have to contribute. And by coming on the show and voicing either in the comments or being on the show as a guest, as Sean White was. Hi, Sean. Good to see you again, dear. What a fantastic show last week she had. Oh my goodness. But anyway, that's why when these shows were in the infancy form, that was the major thing that we wanted to do is make sure that this was educational for everyone.
Absolutely.
Real quick before we move on, Rex says, Shirley, it's all about reading a book with a child, not to a child. And that is so true.
And that brings the
Uh,
warmth.
sh-
How she did that, it brought the warmth together of reading a book. Now, not just reading the book. I mean, it brings that warmth of like being a part of it, which is such a talent. I mean, like wow, it's a different world than you think about. Instead of standing there reading that book, "'Twas the night." I mean, it's just wow. That's
Well,
an art form
even
too.
if you recite that book by memory, if you don't use voice inflection
Yeah,
and put your character into it and actually make it uh, something that holds the attention of the child, you failed as a Santa. You failed as at doing your job as a storyteller. So,
right. Definitely.
Sean
Yeah.
says I have started making the travel plans for San Antonio today. We are so excited, Sean. We can't hardly stand it. Uh, I mean, it's coming fast, folks. It's coming fast. November, December, we'll all be busy. So we've only got a couple of months to wrap this thing up. January to implement it, and February to hold class. So we're all excited.
It'll be a phenomenal thing. Yeah, Sean was talking about over the weekend up at the red suit, and she's ready to go, and so it's going to be wow. It's got to be
We
like 80% full already, isn't it? Probably.
we're getting on up there. We're if we went by our first projected number, yeah, we're 2/3 of the way there. But we have now got hopes of making it even larger, and we've added extra space that we went ahead and secured at the hotel. We got all 5 of the rooms that are available, so we got plenty of room for vendors at this point. And like I say, just stay tuned because here in the next week or two, we're trying to wrap everything up and get the final stuff put together, and we'll be putting out a media blitz on it at that point. Let's see who this is. Hang on just a second. Let me
That's
look over here. Ut Brothers. Hey there, Mr. Ut. Said Mrs. Claus and I had a great time at the Red Suit Conclave. Randy and all the MAPS members put on a great class. That they do.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Rand,
Thank you.
Randy
Yeah,
and
I'm
all the
glad,
guys
glad
work
you were there.
very
Glad
hard
you were there.
to make sure that they put on a good event every year. Dana Prostrello says that they're watching plane ticket prices. Yeah, fuel kind of started going back up at this point. So, we had kind of gotten to a point where the plane tickets were at a pretty fair price there for months. But I'm scared they're going to start creeping back up since fuel prices have started going up again.
We have Shannon asked about is the one that asked about the hotel booking hotel. Um, is the hotel you have a special rate and all that? I take it, Bob, for the
We do, and we should have this week
Sean
have
McMahon.
the final agreement in with them, and that way we can go ahead and share the booking link. So just hang with us. We've got an excellent price. We're really happy with the price that Scott Seriton has worked on negotiating down. It will come with breakfast included in the price, which was another point that we really worked hard to get. And so, because at the Marriott Northwest in San Antonio, they don't serve breakfast like your budget hotels do. They've got a regular sit down restaurant there. So this is something we had to negotiate in. And Scott has done a wonderful job. Went down recently to San Antonio, went in, looked at the facility, showed all of us what was going on. Really, really working hard to make sure this is going to be a great event.
Fantastic. It's going to be incredible. It's going to be incredible.
Okay, gosh, let's move along. We're already
Yeah.
almost 30 minutes in. We hadn't even got to the second question yet here. So, when considering a gig, what would you say is the most important element to consider? Money, location, travel cost. Do you prefer to stay at a local or travel and when I say stay local within your area or travel out of town to a location that's a way where you'll have to stay into a hotel, is if housing is needed, do you prefer to book your own location or do you let the agent or whoever is sending you to the location do that for you? I've heard some nightmare stories there. Is the only reason I pose this. And do you ever consider housing other than a hotel, like short-term rentals or Airbnb?
Wow.
Something I don't think that we've ever posed this question. Some questions we kind of regurgitate, bring back in a different fashion, and add on to because of the communication. What we've heard in some of the answers, it needs further discussion. But I don't think we've talked too much about this before. So, do you
That's a
consider a gig? What would you say is the most important element to consider?
that's a big one. That's a fantastic piece. That encompasses a lot, and a lot of people just say, "Well, it's down the street. I'll do it," or "I don't charge. This is how it is." But boy, all the other things, it's a lot. It's a lot to consider, and totally agree with Bob about sometimes you don't want to let the agent or somebody else take care of your accommodations. I did a few years ago, and the walls were so thin. It's a lot of things I really didn't want to hear. You know what I mean? That's all I'm going to say. Okay. I didn't want to hear a lot of things in the middle of the night with very, very thin walls. So it was just, I'm going, oh my goodness, no. So, but yeah,
Wonder,
that's something that you want to maybe take care of yourself. It's,
just wonder
sometimes
if there was a bear or a cougar on the other side of that wall. A bear
probably
or a
one was
cougar.
a cougar, but the other one was,
Oh, okay. So yeah, and the reason we bring this up, I started thinking about this when we were in Branson. 15 days in one location. We've traveled, more than 2 weeks at a time, but you're going from point A to point B to point C to point D, and you're seeing different sites along the way, and going to different things, national parks, and whatever, and so it's really you really don't really start thinking about home until the day before you start heading back home, and then you think, well, vacation's over, all I want to do is get home. But setting 15 days in one spot was a little bit different for Carol and I. And so it kind of got me thinking, how does these guys, because I've never traveled away for a gig because I'm, again, just 1 mile up the highway from the mall that I work at. So sitting, 7 weeks in one spot. Of course, Rex Ray does that every year. And he told me, he says, not, it's a piece of cake. He kind of enjoys the break and the getaway. So
get away. So yeah, he gets away from paradise in Florida to go someplace else. I don't understand.
well, it's still in Florida. It's
Oh,
not
it's
that
still in
far
Florida.
away.
Okay, it's like, oh wait a minute, he comes north. He does he snow for a few months? Ew, I want to go down to Florida and work for those few months.
A
But yeah,
little further round trip that he wants to travel each day, so he negotiates in a housing with his contract. So let's see here. Something about airfare. Who said that? Jack Dove. Hello, Jack, buddy. Good to see you on here, man. Glad for you to join in with us today. There's always a firm if airfare is too high. Yeah, this is true, Jack. Very true. Uh, Bart says understanding all elements of the request and managing customers' expectations.
Mhm.
Rex says must consider the whole picture, especially if distance travel is involved. Is what I was just saying about him. Uh, you know, 30 minutes is one thing, but an hour and a half to 2 hours away, backwards and forth daily, that's half your day.
Yeah,
You wouldn't get much time for sleep.
yeah, that's what we look at here. Of course, I look here in the north area because I don't want to travel a long ways in case there is snow. I'm sure you're probably the same way, Ernie. You got to worry about the snow and bad weather. So
Yes.
you kind of want to work in one part of town, and then this less. I know it's an hour, 2 hour drive. Then if I got to get someplace, so it's unless they pay enough to make it worthwhile if you don't do anything else, you know.
It's like a juggling act, so to speak. You need to get all the information you want, and you need to consider all those aspects of everything. How long it'll take you to get there. There's a lot of work involved, and when you're like myself, I'm a one man show, so to speak. So people don't realize how much work is involved when you get all these different clients and they're calling you and they want you on Saturday evening. And that town is 2 towns over and you're going to be at another town over. You have to kind of figure out exactly how long it's going to take and add in the extra time just in case something happens or if there's bad weather. So there's a lot. You take in everything and weigh out all the different aspects of it all. So
Because some of it's just you might want to just all your life might have just wanted to do this type of an event. If you've never done a tree lighting before, oh, I got a gig to do a tree light, even though it's an hour and a half away, I get to do my first tree lighting. Or if it's a special parade or something. Sometimes you look at it going, it's worth going that far or that
right.
longer or for a little less money or whatever, because man, it just filled what I've been wanting to do. So there is so many things. I mean, that's a great question. I mean, it's so many different answers, Bob, that you post on that thing. I mean, really. It's
Yeah, and I try to go as broad as I can on these something
yeah,
burgers
it's
because
I mean it's
it stimulates us all to think and to come up with answers that we can all use. I tell you though, I think the best comment so far is Parker. Of course, he's always keeping me in stitches. That guy, I tell you, he needs his own stand-up show. I try to stay on Gina's couch as much as I can, but it's so hard to book it. Speaking of Gina Bacon, Nationwide Santas, guys, if you don't know who that is.
yeah.
Diane posed the question to Jack, what is a firm? And Jack's comments is that it is a company that will allow you to pay your plane tickets out in payments. Gosh, they're coming in so fast now I can't keep up with them, guys. Jack says I use it when I went to California and Utah in the 1st of July. So speaking of the payment plan, Sean says I look for gigs that bring new experiences I learn by being outside my comfort zone. That is so true, Sean. So many guys get in this shell and they limit themselves to what they can do because they're scared to take that step outside of that comfort zone. That's one thing as a performer you cannot do. You have to push yourself no matter if you make a clown out of yourself or not, you still got to do it. You still got to have that experience. You still got to learn from it, and that's a great point. Uh,
And it just then it's so exciting to one more thing that you did that you might have never done. Like I was scared to death years ago about arriving in a helicopter. I was freaking out, but I was sure glad I did it. I mean, I was like, that's when I was 400 pounds. You're in a 2-man helicopter, one side's 400 pounds. It's flying like this. But I was glad I did it. I pushed myself. I was glad I did it because, man, and it didn't pay much at all. Believe me, it was really because you got to be to the airport so soon. Then it's really I was only getting paid for the gig itself, so it's not like it's big money. But like Sean said, just put yourself out a little bit further. Like Bob said, man, it's just fun that way.
I went through the same thing, Randy, when they brought me into the mall 2 years in a row. But mine was Care Flight, and it was a 4-seater plus the stretcher, so it was a larger unit. But still, I was so freaked out about something I always wanted to do. It was on my bucket list, but then you get to thinking about all these things. And what got me, man, is when they landed at the helipad to pick me up, they do a briefing. And they tell you, in case of a hard crash, we meet at 12 o'clock, and they start going through all this stuff and I'm already freaked. And by the time I got in and got strapped in, I was trembling all over. I wasn't sure what to expect. I'm thinking, oh God, please don't let this crash.
Yeah, I know there's some guy. Joe Eady even repelled down. He did a repelling thing down. You know, he was strapped down to a harness and repelled down to Pier de Santa. Of course, there's so many of those wild things for entrances. Of course, and I'm not saying those are the kind of things we're talking about, but like stepping out of the box. But it's fun. We got some other answers, I'm sure, Bob. Oh yeah, we got a lot of them coming here, Bob.
Yes, we do. We got them pouring in here. Sean says I would make my own arrangements to take.
I yeah, Bob. It is actually
I don't see what you're talking about.
yeah, no, Sean is the one that says I look for gigs that brings new experience. You got that one, Becky, Bob. Got
Yeah,
that
I just
one.
didn't finish what
Yeah,
we were talking about there. That's the reason I
yeah,
was picking up where I left off. I would make my own arrangements to take advantage of points upgrades at hotels. Step-ins are good. Very
yeah.
true.
And the next one is Gary, actually, Gary Linder. That it
Uh,
says the I'm my own agent. You can take that, Bob, from there, but it's Gary Linder.
I do not take any gigs that I cannot drive to within an hour and a half of my home.
See?
I charge a driving fee, anything over 30 miles. And a lot of guys do. 25 to 50 miles is
Yeah,
pretty standard. Depends on where you live. If you live within the city, 50 miles is nothing. I mean, I can barely go to the next town in 50 miles. To go all the way across Dallas Fort Worth, is an hour, 45 minutes, 2 hour drive, but you definitely want to get compensation for that. Good point, Gary.
very good point, Gary.
Jackie Chamberlain. Hi, Jackie. One of the hard parts of working through an agent is not always having direct access with the client. Great point. And again, back to agents booking your room for you. If you have any input whatsoever, because in some instances you may know the area that you'll be in, even though it's away from home. Say for Rex, being an hour and a half away from his house, too far to drive back and forth every day. He still knows the area where he's working, so he knows what part of that town or city the hotel will be in. He knows what the reputation of that hotel will be. So always try to have some input there if you can. Uh,
And to touch on what you said earlier, Bob, don't be afraid to go outside your comfort zone and do different types of gigs and things like that. Now, I do a lot of work myself, and I also have a couple of agents with Hire Santa and so forth. And so if you do a gig and maybe you didn't like it, then at least you tried. Whether you thought it went good or you failed at it or whatever the case may be. At least you tried, and okay, well, that's not the type of thing that I like to do. So to push yourself and to get out there, I think it's gonna help you out. You're going to gain that experience, and just continue on and move forward through that. Don't be
Yeah,
afraid to fail, so to speak.
that's what's so
yeah,
great
that's it.
about this business is we can do malls if you only like to do them. We can do big box stores. We can do only home visits, schools. I mean, there's such a variety of stuff, and that's what's great. I mean, and we can, like you said, Ernie, we can not pick and choose, but try it. You don't like it, you do something else. And that's what we're very fortunate, for that.
Yeah, very. And Bart says I'll pass too many moving parts that need to beat the air into submission to get off the ground. Rex comes back and says, Rex Ray, try what I did parachuting in with an Army Ranger strapped to my back. He, he's told us all about that when we were sitting around, and Branson told us the stories. And I don't know if that one's for me or not, but Rex, you're a better man than I am, brother. That's
Yeah,
for sure. That-
yeah, you can do it, Rex. I'm nope.
yeah, that's one I'm not too new would be too pleased to do there.
I'm not
But
sure if I would be conscious when I hit the ground.
yeah, exactly. Or dry at that.
I know I wouldn't be dry. I know that wouldn't be.
Yeah, I would
Yeah,
be
no.
soiled at that point.
Yeah, that
Uh,
would be a fun. That's
Parker says, but you're a Rex Ray, you can do anything. Boy, that is so true, Parker. So true.
and has probably
Gentlemen,
done
I
everything too. Probably has.
highly respect and highly look up to is Rex Ray. Jackie says when checking into the hotel, take little gifts and snacks for the staff. Get them excited about having Mrs. Claus as a guest. Great point. Carl says, I'm open to travel, but I would want to have a lot of input on where I would be staying if overnight travel was involved. Typically, I have a mileage fee of over 35 miles from my location. Bart says, make a wish and terminal visits are always out of my comfort zone, but it will never deter me from doing them. Very good, Bart. Those are important, and somebody has to do them. And if they're in your area, grab them. There's a lot of things in Santa that can make you sad. A lot of things make you happy, but there are some things that after the fact you go home and you dwell on for a little bit. And so make a wish, terminal visits, those are two of them that stay with you for a while. But then at some point you realize that uh, in a roundabout way you're doing God's work, and you've got to feel good about being able to put a smile or uh, bring a wish, come true for a sick child or an adult. Carl says, so far I've not been offered any opportunities that I had to turn down other than for scheduling conflicts. Good point. Why would anyone jump out of a perfectly good airplane? My point exactly. And hello, great day in Alabama. I'm not sure who that is. Santa Mark. Okay, Mark. Hey, Mark Walker. Good to see you, buddy. All right. I think that's about the brunt of it there. Great segment as always. At this point, I think we need to just kind of move along. We still got a lot to cover today. So santascloset.org commercial. We'll be back on the other side of this.
Hey everyone, Elf Angela Mack here for Bob, Randyl, and Company Live. The show about nothing. Bob, Randyl, and Company Live is brought to you by Santa's Closet. Santa's Closet has been delivering unique, value-packed Santa and Mrs. Claus accessories since 2004. Santa's Closet's main goal is to provide both a superior customer experience with tremendous value for their customers. Santa's Closet brings more than 400 separate products to the Claus community at a reasonable price. Santa's Closet is under new ownership. Let's welcome Santa Wade and Scarlett Kaufman of Tennessee, whom will continue the tradition of bringing you products of unparalleled quality and design. Don't forget to visit their sites at santascloset.org and support their efforts of bringing quality products to the community. This is Angela Mack reminding you to catch our show every Monday at 3 p.m. Central. Thanks for watching. Now let's get back to Bob, Randyl, and Company Live and today's Monday Santa's Closet Trivia.
All right, Randy, Ernie, how's your German? Either one of you speak good German?
Yeah, those couple words here are going to hope. I'm sure Angela's going to be able to put this on the board because those few words are going to be way past me. My real last name is pretty German sounding, but I can't. I can go to 1, 2, 999. That's where I get stuck. That's where I get stuck.
I know this was going to be a tough one for whoever took it, and I always make you do them, Randy.
Yeah, thanks, man. Well, we're gonna dance around the few little words I really need to do. But here we go, guys. What Christmas song was originally German and titled? Those are the titles. You'll see the Stilly, Nutchy, Heidi, Nutch, whatever that is. Thank you very much. I apologize to all my German relatives. I apologize. Who were the lyrics written by the date? What were the lyrics? Who wrote the lyrics and what date? And who composed the music and what date? So we have a couple. I think you'll get the song fairly easy, but the other part's pretty depth. So what Christmas song was originally in German and titled whatever those words are, Stillichnachts or Heidelmatch, however you pronounce that? Who wrote the lyrics and the date, and who composed the music and the dates? So there's a few extra things. You need basically 4 answers for this.
Randy, you did a great job. You did better than I would have. Now
Man.
we've got Ron McClam on with us today, and he actually
Hey,
lived in
Ron.
Germany for some time, and he could probably pronounce this, but he's just watching today, so we may have to ask him about that tomorrow night when he's on the show.
Yeah, if I'd like him to hear him to just say those words would be fantastic tomorrow night. That would
Yeah.
be great. Or somebody can leave me a voicemail and say how those say those words. But it's great. Man.
Yep, that's that was another one that intrigued me. So I find something that intrigues me, I always try to grab it and use it. So fantastic, guys! You all work on that. We're going to do the exit video, and we'll be right back. All right, hot off the wire, up in Chatterbox News. Bob Randall and Company Live proudly broke the news back early July about the two Christmas schools collaborating to form Northport Cornerstones, that being Santa Nanta's Holiday University and Santa and the Business of Being Santa. We spoke about it a little bit earlier. What we have to update at this point is it will be in San Antonio, Texas, February 2nd through 4th. That's 3 days. And it's at the Marriott Northwest San Antonio. Very, very nice hotel. And they have been so great in working with us and accommodating us and giving into things that we've asked for that has to be negotiated. The negotiation process has been extremely easy because they are so open and willing to work with us. So 3 days of fresh, innovative curriculum presented by 5 experienced instructors, be Deanna Golden, Judith Broderick, Rex Ray, Hall of Famer, Chrissy Kovic, CostumeMagic.com, and myself. And we're looking forward to it. Going to be super cool. Lots of new stuff. Working on things that a lot of these questions that we ask about. What would you like to see? What would you want to learn about? We're taking into consideration and trying to work it in.
Yes, and that's
all right. Over to you, Randy, to cover Ben's event.
Man, we got that coming up. We have, of course, Ben in. I'm going to put the sign up here, of course. And I noticed Ben actually told me there's a typo in this, but you really can't see it anyways. It's the Masterclass Academy coming in March to Columbus, Ohio. It's going to be 2 days, not 3 days. 2 days. 2 days. One day is going to be Lee Andrews. The other day is going to be Jeff McMullen. What a great time. I mean, it's crazy to keep those 2 guys together. Why am I going 3? 2 guys together for classes. I mean, the talent they have, the years of experience, and that's in March. That's actually March 23rd and 24th in Columbus, Ohio. And to let you guys know again, we will be introducing next week the sponsor, the scholarship that Bob Randall and Company is going to be doing. So it's going to be we're going to be doing a little essay for you guys. We'll explain it all next week on the show, so you guys can send things in and win a full paid to the Santa Masterclass Academy, Master Academy. Excuse me, it's not a class in Columbus. So it's coming
Absolutely.
up.
And Chip and Lee, 2 of the top performing Santas in our industry, but they come from the clowning world. They both still do clown work in addition to being Santa. Ben went above and beyond on this one, I got to say. And so if you're in the area, want to attend and see Jeff and Lee, get in touch with Ben and for contact information and everything that you need to know right there.
Yeah, they're both entertainers. They're not just Santas. They are both
Right.
entertainers, full-time entertainers. So it's
Absolutely.
going to be if that's part of what you and that's what we are. We're entertainers. That's what Santa and Mrs. Clauses are. And over the weekend, I don't say it enough. Elves are also. So I always leave the elves
absolutely.
out.
It's the Claus family now. That
Claus
includes
family,
Santa,
yes.
Mrs. Claus, and elves. The Claus family.
Yep.
So moving on, School of Santa's 2024, Branson, Missouri. Dates are July 18th, 19th, 20th, and 21st. That's of 2024. And the keynote instructor there is the one and only we just spoke of, Jeff McMullen, Pringle University, Santa Mac. And last count was he had 89 already registered, leaving only around 21 seats for the whole session for next year. So if you plan on going, 24 seats is not very many. You need to get your money in. Working with Tanya at Branson Travel, Ticket and Travel, to get your down payment to hold your seat. That's all it takes.
And Spangle always puts everything together, just like I know, North Pole Cornerstones are doing the same thing, making it a one-stop deal. Which
Yes.
Spangle does the thing. It's kind of a fun thing to put together. You just pay for one thing, your hotel and all that, and you're there. And there's no worry
Well,
about
those
getting food, and I think it's a great way that the schools, classes, conferences are going. I think it's a great
well,
way to go.
and that's the one thing that Spangle kind of started and
Mhm.
has opened the eyes up to the rest of us is by offering a complete package. It just works so much better. It takes less stress off of those who are attending. For instance, when we do our Sat Bob's classes, we go out for lunch both days, Saturday and Sunday. Usually it's across the street to Whataburger, but I mean, it's still you're going out, and some folks don't like Whataburger or choose to go down the street to McDonald's or somewhere else. And so then, there's always that chance that they're going to take longer than you do. So you're always waiting for someone to get back in class. And so those are lessons that have been learned, with Branson working with Spangle the last few years and being part of his crew. And, it just makes sense to be all inclusive.
And
And
you
that's
also know
exactly what
what your price is going to be. It's like, okay, is the lunch going to cost me $12, $25? Dinner's going to cost me this. So it's a great thing that Spangle started that way. And
yes,
so
yes, it is. And so again, we didn't mention npcornerstones.com if you want more information. We have a Facebook page. We have our website up and running. And if you have questions up and beyond, there's a contact sheet. Pose your questions there. We have someone monitoring that at all times. We'll get right back to you. And if that doesn't do it, just reach out to one of us individually. We're all on Facebook.
and we know always on Facebook. All these schools are posting stuff on Facebook also for all the other information that's coming up. So we're just getting the news out there, and um, there's plenty of things to learn and the updates as time goes on. So
That's right, exactly. All right, so going on to our upcoming guests and shows. Tomorrow night we've got Ron McClan, professional Santa, movie, TV character actor. He's the coordinator of New Mexico Enchanted Santas, as I mentioned earlier. He lived for some time in Germany, so we'll get him to pronounce that for us tomorrow night. I'll get him to jot that down so he can remind me. But Ron's going to be. I think everybody knows Ron from the show when we first started the Tuesday Night Live show, and everybody kind of got to know all of us, in the early stages, season one. So we're not really going to cover, but a couple of questions about Santa. This is mainly going to be about his movie and TV acting career that he has been so fortunate to be able to be a part of. He's sitting in the right place in New Mexico where all these things are happening. He's going to tell us about all the different shows he's been on, how he got those. I mean, he's going to go into some really cool stuff. Going to have some videos to show from the sets, still shots that he put together for a video. It's going to be a great show tomorrow night, guys. So be sure to join us for that. And Randy, pick it up from there.
yeah, that's such a cool an extension of Santa. It really is such a cool extension of Santa. That's just so you can work all year, not just during the 8 weeks or so. Of course, that's the 8th of August. The 15th of August, we have Matt Spalding. Matt Spalding is a designer beard Santa. He has North Pole Radio podcast. He's had again some great people on there. He's going to let us know how we got that going and how that's everything going. But you got to ask Matt talk more about his how he explains to the children how Santa gets down a tree, down the chimney. Excuse me. He's got a cute little fun little way. I don't want him to say who told you, but it's a cute way he explains how Santa gets up and down a tree. So wow, why am I saying tree? Chimney, not tree. Wow. Maybe I should write the script instead of just talking about it. Then August 22nd is everybody's friend. He's out there, Scott Parker from day one. He'll be in on the 22nd. He's been very dedicated and just constant viewer and always puts some funny things in. Always gets Bob to laugh about his little quips about things. But of course, he's done so many fantastic things as Santa. He's got some great stories. So don't miss Scott Parker on the 22nd. 29th, we got Lauren Jensen again. He's going to do round two about his shed, but he's also going to talk about. I saw Lauren a week ago Saturday for a luncheon. We talked again, like Bob did, about his backstory, about he just goes through so many aspects, picks back and forth of his backstory and how intricate it gets. If it's between religion, if it's between politics, if between regular history or fictitious history, it's everything, guys. It's very, very, very in depth. So I don't know how he's gonna get it all in, because it's a long one, because and he said it's not like a story you can just tell. It's like he says, we all do a backstory, a little bit of it, but it's very cool. Don't miss Lauren on the 29th of August. Then can you believe we're talking September already? September 5th, we have Diane Vin. Did I get it? Vin.
Vin.
Diane again. Diane's a professional, of course, Mrs. Claus. She's just phenomenal. She'll be a great thing. She's been all over some of the schools now. She's got some great stories, and she'll tell me on the thing again how to pronounce her names. She always writes it in here. Right, Diane? There you go. Oh, she's smiling at me. Maybe I got it halfway right. Thank you, Diane. Oh, you are adorable. Thank you. But that's on the September 5th. September 5th, that's just crazy to think how close that is to the holidays. Then on the 12th, man, we got a Santa and Mrs. Claus duo. Santa and Mrs. Claus together, and it's always great to see.
Second year.
Second
year. They're newbies.
That's new, and that's fantastic. And it's always great to see that those new eyes, the new Santas and Mrs. Clauses have so much for us to learn, even they've been around, because they got those new eyes. They've got that fresh new feel about stuff. So Elizabeth and Tracy Ruck,
and they have really jumped the ladder fast. They have taken such leaps and bounds over the first year they was at School of Santas last year, and came back this year. They will also be in San Antonio. They are going to be two of our volunteers to help us put the event on from behind the scenes, volunteering their time. But they have really just propelled themselves. They have made such a splash in the Missouri Branson area. It's just, we'll hear more about it on the show.
It's what we can do in this business, which is fantastic. You have the drive, you have the heart, and look what you do. Then on the 19th, of course, we're getting so close. September 19th, we've got Cherry Hill's going to be here talking about more last-minute opportunities. And kind of by then, it's almost last-minute opportunities anyway. But Cherry Hill will be here. Ruby and Becky will be here that night for talk about Cherry Hill and what their needs still are. And they've got a lot of needs across and a lot of openings across the United States. They do. Go ahead, Bob. That's all right.
No, I was just going to say, and I've added a couple more since then. Even coming up on September 28th, Bob Churchwell, another new Santa in his second year. I first talked with him in Gatlinburg, and then again in Branson. He's known as Santa Bobo, Bobbo. He's professional Santa out of Burlington, Colorado, and yes, he is a newbie, but he has, again, another one that has jumped into the role and has made a splash at it, and we're looking forward to having him. And we also are confirming Santa Blair. Scott gave me the date on that. I didn't write it down. I'll have to look and confirm that on next week's show. But think about this, guys. Here's the crazy part. We've only got 14 shows left. And the season's over.
Wow.
Yep. So going on, though, and talking about the end of the season, which is something we want to cover real quick. we're going to have on October 24th, the Tuesday Night Live special, third annual roundtable panelist, tough questions and answers from the chair. This was a segment that we've done, and folks ask about it all the time. Are you going to do the roundtable again? Are you going to do the roundtable again? We also done one in Branson while we were there, and was a big splash, big hit. Everybody loved it. That's going to push us this year. We're doing things a little bit different. Normally, we do that the third week in October. We pushed that to the fourth week in October because we have 5 Tuesdays this year. So we're pushing the Halloween show back to, and this is going to, and it's something I haven't told you, Randy, but we're going to do the Halloween show on Monday. And it will be a Tuesday Night Live Monday combined special Halloween costume show, third annual, on Monday. Instead of 3 p.m., we're going to do it at 7 p.m. on Monday.
Wow.
So,
woo-hoo, all changes. Halloween's does strange things, everybody.
yeah, and that's the Monday before Halloween. So that pushes it back closer to Halloween. I think it'll just fit better and be more fun. Now, that also pushes our season ending, third annual season ending, sent off the Christmas show to November 7th. Normally, we're done before the end of October. This year, we're pushing it all the way to November 7th, and that will be our 41st show of the season.
Wow. That's just crazy to think that it's that close. I mean, the years go by so quick, and Halloween show has been so much fun the last few years.
It has. It really has. Really has.
Crazy.
So. You don't realize how quick the time goes by until.
Man,
Well, when you're busy, it really does. And I think most of everyone in this industry stays so busy between not only preparing to perform as Claus during the season, but the extracurricular things that we do. For instance, Randy's involvement in the Red Suit Conclave, my involvement with Sat Bob's, the Texas State Santas, my racing group that I still try to get together every once in a while from when I raced cars. I mean, I just seem to, now we got cornerstones going on. So we're all pretty busy. So, the year does fly by when you stay busy for sure.
Well, they say when you run out of things to do, you're not needed anymore. So that's what somebody told me years ago. When there's nothing else to do, what are we needed for? So we always got to keep something to do.
The driving force behind some of mine might be because I've also heard that Alzheimer's and dementia can be triggered by being idle, not using your brain so much. It starts to shrink and fade. And if I keep my brain busy, maybe I'll still know who I am in 5 years.
That's why I put it. That's why I have it sewn on the elastic of my, where.
Yeah,
mine's already starting that way. Oh God!
All right, so hey, fantastic job there, Randy. I didn't get a chance to update after yesterday's addition to the list, but I want to throw those in there because we are getting close to the end of the season, and so just to let everyone know what the season's going to wrap up as. Let's go on to our trivia answer. What Christmas song was originally German entitled "Selici Nace, Hiligi Nace," whatever? I think I got that from Randy. Who was the lyrics written by and the date, and who composed the music, and what was the date? So, of course, the name of the song was Silent Night. It was written by Joseph Mohr, Mohr, in 1816. Composed by Frank's, Franz, Franz, which is a strange spelling, of course, German. Xavier, Xavier, or Ber, excuse me. Gruber, Gruber, in 1818, 2 years later. Did we have a winner, Angie?
Yeah, Charlie.
Johnson?
Yes.
Boy, I tell you what, Charlie has been on a roll, has he not? Charlie Johnson's our winner. I'll get your information over to Wade and Scarlett and let them get you a care package out.
I thought about when you said the word then, a silent nachi, it sounded more Mexican to me, about some nachos sound more than night to me. That's what it sounded more like nachos than when you said that, but it's okay.
It's probably
dinner.
not.
Maybe I'll get some Mexican for dinner tonight. But yeah, can you believe 1816 it was written? And it's still, I mean, how many times do you hear that song during the holidays? And how many times it still bring the, as you call, what do you call them now, Bob? Your bumps, what do you call those? Goosebumps? No, I call them goosebumps.
Duck bumps.
Duck bumps. But yeah, that song can still, wow, bring tears to your eyes when it's especially on Christmas Eve when you're holding that candle and it's like, yeah. So and that song That's an incredible song. I got to tell you a quick story at the Jingle Joy retreat up in Muskegon. We had a family night or entertainment night, and I come out and I did 20-25 minutes of magic, but I was not really Santa, let's put it that way. I was a little bit more edgy, you know, Santa. So I come out and I'm some cute little innuendos or humor, and then three Santas come out. Charlie was one, Michael Howard's one, and I can't remember who the old Bruce Noed was the other one. Comes out after I do kind of a not totally family, but I mean a little more edgy magic. And they start singing Silent Night right after. I said, "Well, I guess I know they just cleared the room of my craziness is what they did. They came out and sang Silent Night afterwards. I'm going, oh my goodness, I was a bad boy. I think that's why they picked that song."
Santa Scott Seriton says, "Nice mug."
Nice
Thanks, Scott.
mug. Nice
Angela
mug.
just put up the Fancy Lee information here. That's where the swag comes from. All right, guys, are we ready to move on to that magical moment? All right, here we go, Angie.
Thank you guys again. Oh, thank you guys again so much for allowing me to spend some time with you guys on the magical moments. And I just want to go over what we did. Over the weekend we had the Red Suit Conclave and up in Saginaw here, put on my maps, and you sit back and you think about what is so magical. We love to do magic tricks, or at least I do, and we love the magic of Santa and all that. But I tell you, there is nothing more magical, nothing more heartwarming than getting together at a conference or a school that, like we talked about earlier. And that's why I posed the questions to begin with about different things to do and learn and not, because it is just a phenomenal. And Ernie says while we were talking back and forth about it, it is so true. The amount of things that you can learn at a school afterwards when you get together, when you're sitting and doing that fellowship, that is the most powerful time that is spent almost in the classes. We don't realize how magical that is for our development as Santa and Mrs. Claus and the elves, which I said I got to add in there. We don't realize how valuable that is and how magical it is. Just spending that time with brothers and sisters that are like-minded, that want to share. And there's so many people in this business that want to share. They have their arms open, their minds open, their hearts open to let us learn from each other. And that's just incredible. It's just, I'm going to make this one short because we have a special thing going on that Ernie, a few months ago, I posed a question about come up with an idea, and I'm gonna give a little ad out before I go any further with that. A gentleman that also thought of has such a cool magical moment is Santa Blake, and Santa Blake makes these. It's a upside down. It's a chip of the Aurora Borealis. It's same thing. He took his mind, his heart, and his thought process and took and made a beautiful story about getting a piece of the frozen Aurora Borealis. And so we learned about it I mean, I bought this a couple weeks ago, but we learned about it at the Red Suit, and he talked about it there. And it's just when you take your mind, you take other friendships and you connect them together, you come up with a prop that is phenomenal to have, and a story that's heartwarming and explains to the children all going about. Now they can actually touch the Aurora Borealis. So it kind of goes along with what Ernie's going to do now. Is Blake took his thought process, his heart, his mind, and went way out of the box and started making that. And well, he actually makes the boxes too, but that's another story. So it's something that we cannot forget to do, that we can't forget to do it. And Ernie has really stepped out of his box about this unique thing he's going to show us in a few minutes. But don't miss any schools. I can't enhance that enough. Don't miss schools. And it's not just the learning, the classes you're going to learn about things that you want to learn about, if it's photography, if it's whatever. It's that everything else you're going to learn. When you're sitting afterwards and you're tired after a long game, you're just chit chatting and you're going over what happened at somebody else's show. You get an idea. That is just priceless. And because that's what makes, and I'm going to say this, and this is a Mel line, that's what makes us all magical. And Santa Mel, I hope you're having a nice trip back up here, coming up to Michigan. Mel is moving from Alabama to Michigan. I want to say hello. And, but please, guys, go to schools. There's so many out there. Take time to look at schools because it enhances our craft, Santa's, Mrs. Claus's, elves. Besides, it's just the fellowship, the camaraderie is priceless. The North Pole Cornerstones is going to be phenomenal. The Academy, School of Santa, there's so many to choose from. Don't miss them, and don't miss that connection with your brothers and sisters. Man, that's spectacular! I tell you, I had the best time over the weekend. I want to thank each and every one that was there. There was almost 100 people at the Red Suit. And I tell you, you learn from everybody. You'll learn from everyone. Doesn't like Bob. So we have some people coming on Tuesday Night Live. 2 years. I know I'm going to learn something. I know I will. So thank you again, guys. We're going to, just a moment, we're going to get Ernie going to do something really cool, guys. Thank you again for letting me bother you. Oh, excuse me. Talk to you guys on the magical moments. Thanks again, guys.
Randy, fantastic job. Mel's moving from Arkansas.
Arkansas.
You said Alabama, but I knew
It's an A state. I don't know. I live in the north. Well, what do I know? She's
Scott Sheridan said
it's a Michigander or a Michiganian. We have people that split up here, Michigander or Michiganian. So that's what Mel's going to be. She's not going to be an whatever she is anymore. Arkansasian. What are they from Arkansas? Anyway?
There you go. So Santa Scott Sheridan said you had too many candy canes. All right.
I had too many cookies over the weekend, Scott. I really did. Way too many cookies.
And I know exactly where you're at after, like I say, a couple of weeks in Branson. The weekend for you, the Red Suit Conclave. I know you're tired, so it's really easy to just try to run
one of the most fun pictures, guys. Can I apologize? Can I show you a fun picture, guys, from the weekend? Yeah. I got to show you, everybody. I don't know. And Georgetta, she wasn't too angry with it, though. She was smiling for him to give me a kiss. So I don't know. I kind of wonder what's going on there, but it's okay. It's okay. Spangled Ditch is a great job, man. He brought his traveling store up there, and it was just dynamite. I was so glad to have Spangled. And we had 10 other vendors there. Again, I can't thank everybody enough for being a part of my life and enriching my life. I just thank you.
Just one observation from that photo. Jetta was looking at the camera, not paying attention, and Spangle snuck that one in. She might have gotten on to him afterwards. Who knows?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, she was.
I doubt it. She's such a loving and kind person. I doubt that. All right, before we let Ernie close the show out with his presentation, we're going to go ahead and I've got a very short Santa's Flight checklist to do today, so we'll leave plenty of time for Ernie. So let's do that and get it out of the way. That way we can dedicate the rest of the show to Ernie. This kind of goes to something that's been going around on the internet for a few days. Facebook. This is about copyrighted material. Warning: research before using any copyrighted material and always have permission if needed, but sometimes given proper acknowledgement is accepted. In the case of this topic pops up from time to time, and recently it came up again. when someone shared a meme of the Santa Claus oath. Uh, the the oath is a copyrighted material. Uh, Posting or citing the oath, even in part, you must include special acknowledgments. To obtain proxy papers of the Santa Claus oath, please contact Felix Estridge. He's here in Dallas. He's one of my brothers here in North Texas. For those who may not know Felix, his can be found at santafelix.com. He is the gatekeeper that was assigned by the committee, Phil Wentz, and the guys over there at the oath. There are 3 oaths now. You have the Santa oath, the Mrs. Claus oath, and the elf oath. And to put those up in print form on any website, to use them on Facebook, you must get permission first and give acknowledgement. There are proper acknowledgments that they give you that you must post underneath your posting. I have them all here. They're too much to go into, but again, if you want further information, reach out to Felix Estridge, and that is our Santa flight checklist for today.
So good, because I mean, a lot of people think something like that, especially because there's an oath. We think it's something we can just use, or I mean, it goes all the way to reading Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. We really can't do that. You really can't read that story if you're making money. Now, of course, next year it goes public, but the family has the right to redo it again next year. So
That's right.
definitely look into it. And in the oath, we at MAPS we did the oath for everybody at our wrap up dinner 2 years ago, and I got a hold of Felix, and he gave me the thing that we could, and we put on there the bottom of the oath, and everything was. It just takes a few moments to get the rights and give the everything back
Proper,
to the person
proper acknowledgments.
Right, right.
And if you contact Felix and get the permission, that they will let you at any of your Santa gatherings quote or read the oath, and then he have a special acknowledgement that you can sign saying that you have recited the oath, and that goes into the record book for the foundation. So, but always be careful, because I do know of one case where a copyright attorney had contacted a couple. Well, it's happened a couple of times, but one in specific had contacted a Santa over something that he had used that they thought was copywritten, and he actually had documentation to prove that he did the research himself, even though it sounded a whole lot alike of what you know they were basing their claims off of. But anyway, be careful, because none of us like to have to deal with anything that we nonchalantly or innocently do, and didn't realize that you were in the wrong doing it. So always, 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 when it comes to copyrighted material, make sure that you're in the clear there. And again, uh, acknowledgement is everything. This particular meme that was put up was just a meme that someone had put on like a piece of scroll paper. It was really nice, but no acknowledgement whatsoever. And even if you just share that, you are in violation. So be careful.
Yeah, it's little things like that. You made a comment about Facebook. I mean, if you put, let's say you're doing a little video and you have music behind you, they will delete any sound. So you have to make sure that everything is legally not copywritten and everything else, especially Santa oath. It's our business to do the Santa and Mrs. Claus oath, to get it done right. And it's an easy way to contact. Felix is very, very, very easy to contact and get the information. And it's a big thing for Santas to write the oath. And like Bob said, you'll be on record then that you signed it, you read it, and you agree to it. And it puts you on record. Now, some guys have signed it. You probably signed it a bunch of times, Bob, and you probably have.
Yeah.
You probably maybe 2, or you've probably signed it a few times, and you're on record for a few times of signing it. So,
Yeah.
but just take that, and it's the old word CYA. It's just be careful.
Yeah, first time was Tim Conahan's class. The other times were at the Lone Star Santa event. So again, and you can sign it more than once. That just shows that you were present at that date when it was recited, and that you still build your Santa or your Claus character off of those oaths, be it the Santa oath, the Mrs. Claus oath, or the elf oath. You build your character, and it's almost like a verbal commitment. Let's put it that way. Okay, without any further ado, let's go ahead and let Ernie Rizzo do his presentation that he has put together. This is one we've been waiting on for weeks now, and was so excited. I want to thank Randy for taking the time to put this together and do this. This was something we did off on a whim. We do that a lot around here, but it really has turned out to be something pretty cool. So, Ernie, we're going to give you full screen and let you have at it, brother.
All right. Well, I'd like to thank you again, Bob, Randyl, Angela, and company. And so this prop here that you see behind me, when I started my Santa journey, as I guess you would say, it was in the beginning of COVID in 2020. So there was a lot of, you know, I was still up at Bass Pro Shop and doing a few things here and there. But obviously, we had to do a lot of virtual visits and things like that. I like some of my props to be able, the children to be able to relate to them and understand. So I'll move my screen just a little bit. If you can see the northern lights right up here on my ceiling, I have a northern lights projector. And what I did was I decided out of the out of the box a little bit that I wanted to be able to collect the power of the northern lights. And I tell the children during a visit, they'll ask me, Santa, what's that behind you? So I'll tell them, I'll say, oh, this here, well, this is my northern lights magic collector. It's my solar panels. As you can see, I have a couple of solar panels here. And what happens is I collect the magic from the northern lights that go through the solar panels. It travels down through these tubes here and comes down into my bottles that collect the magic dust. And that is my northern light solar collector. You see, we don't have to worry about electricity here at the North Pole because I've been doing this for hundreds of years. How do you think humans got their solar panels for their roofs? Some of our technology here at the North Pole tends to get its way out into the public, so to speak. So this here is my Northern Lights magic dust collector. As a matter of fact, Randy's favorite word, F word, is what? Free, I think he says. So a lot of this here was nearly almost nothing. Now the tubing here, believe it or not, these are some old CPAP tubings that have been frosted, running through twinkling lights, bottle lights through them so you can see them. And then, of course, having these bottles here done with acrylic to make it look like the colors of the northern lights and having some bottle lights inside here. And then I made the box and the setup to go on and a simple tripod that I found at a local Goodwill for a couple of dollars. So this prop here probably cost me, and the actual solar, the little solar collectors here, I can actually turn these on and they act like spotlights as well. If I can find the light, the switch. Well, they're on here. So what I did was I added some green, some red, and some blue lights in here, but those will turn on as well. And that way there, I explain that to the children. I make it relatable so that they can understand. The children know what solar panels are on their homes. So, and then I decided, okay, well, that's great. Now, this is specifically for virtual visits. Now, what can I do now that I'm doing home visits and things like that? And of course, Randyl showed everybody the Aurora Borealis with the stone that Blake Menzing give a shout out. And of course, they have a nice sheen when you shine them into the light in these blocks. So this is something that you can bring with you. And of course, I always like to improve on things and make things a little bit, better. In my opinion, I like to put my own touch. Not that it's better, but put my own touch on things. So then Hobby Lobby, for $3, you can get your own box and decorate it the way you want to. And then, of course, I add a little bit of midnight, I guess what you would call universe lighting there, and another aurora stone, a piece of the aurora borealis that is has that shine and sheen to it. And of course, I don't want it falling out, so it's nice and snug inside there. But it does come out. I can pass that around to children. So this is good to take with you. It's in a nice small box. You can put it in your bag and show children this, especially if they've seen you at a virtual visit. And then you're able to actually have this with you when you see them live. And the other thing I ended up doing just recently was I tell the story on how the elves go out, and that's along with the story that comes with the one that we got from Blake. How they go out and collect the piece. It gets so cold at the North Pole that the aurora borealis freezes from time to time, and bits and pieces drop, just like on a hot summer day when you may have hail that comes down in a storm. So I can relate that to the children. And then, of course, they shape them into these beautiful, beautiful spheres like this one here. And of course, you can see that this one here changes the colors just like the Northern Lights do. I hope that it's showing it well. So then, of course, this one here, it changes all the colors. It has a beautiful look to it. It's not totally finished yet, but at the bottom of that, I end up having a nice color-changing light. Amazon, great. You can find lots of things there. And I found the stones. That's actually quartz, which takes on the illumination very, very well. And the light on Amazon actually is designed specifically for spheres. So if you get yourself a nice sphere quartz, you can actually end up making a prop like this here that changes colors and you can bring with you. This one I still have a little bit of work to do to make sure that it doesn't fall out. I want to make sure it's nice and snug in there when I take it to a visit. So, but that's pretty much my presentation, and I hope you enjoyed it. I love making all kinds of different props myself, or finding props and then maybe trying to better them, things like that. And so I appreciate being on the show, and thank you so much. And I love all of you that are in the community, and I mean all the knowledge and everything that's been given to me in such a short time to make my portrayal the best that I can be, and continually try to build on that over and over and over. I thank all of you, love all of you, and thanks for having me on the show and being able to share this as well. So, and like this prop here, probably, I'm going to say maybe $20 to $25 tops. So you can always find great things and nice magical things and different props, different things to bring with you on visits. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Wow. Thank you, Ernie, so much, man. That's what you did exactly. That's why I wanted you here. Exactly what we're looking for. Take your ideas and just expand. And the backstory about it, it's just, and adding the roof, and
I am totally blown away.
yeah, see,
Wow, man. That's using your noodle and taking it outside the box. Man.
Well, thank you so much.
Fantastic. That's one of the best things I've seen in some time. I am totally blown away. And you know me, I'm not very speechless, so all I can say is great job.
Great. I mean, it is
Hats
a cool
off to you,
looking
brother.
machine. It gets the children talking, then the stories there. It's great job, Ernie. Really, really. That's why it's like,
Yep.
Thank you so much.
I get a lot of these ideas. I think up a lot of ideas myself, but and that's the great part of, like you said, going to the schools all the time and learning all these different things. You get to take bits and pieces from everybody and make it make it your own, tweak it a little here and there, what you like, and things like that, and then just make it your own, and go ahead and just go forward with it, and just change things up every year. So it's great.
That's a small piece of inspiration that can literally change your portrayal and your success as a performing Santa on home visits or otherwise. That your contribution to the Santa community, again, I'm blown away. I don't, man, that's fantastic.
Thank you.
Absolutely. My
Very
hats
cool.
off to you, brother.
Very cool. Thank you. I'm really.
So let
Thank
that be
you.
a lesson for everyone. Don't get comfortable and fall into a stagnant row. Think outside the box. Go out there and create new things. We've talked in the past about how Mrs. Claus is writing her own history right now, changing up their look from the grandma mop, style to what you see now, vintage Mrs. Claus, simply Mrs. Claus. I mean, there's so many examples of the ladies going above and beyond, and this is an example to say that Santa's not just totally written either. I mean, you can always still be writing new history, and that right there is history, man.
It's just great entertainment. It's great. It's great backstory. It's
Always.
great fun for the kids are riveting. Going, it's cool. Tell me more. And that's what all this is about. Remember, guys, Monday and Tuesdays are
Free.
free and free. Sorry, Bob. I didn't have yours over the weekend, so I had to take mine with me. Remember, guys, it is free. So that's, I mean, just what you're gonna, we don't want to steal from everybody. But exactly like Ernie said, you learn something from somebody, you take it a little bit here, a little there, you put it together with something else, you tweak it, and we all have our basic Santa has to be, but man, it's great, and that's stuff you can learn here from guys like Ernie and everybody. Thank you guys very much, and everybody added in.
To
priceless.
jump in real quick, you said it before, you say it many times. We're all better together.
We're all better. We are better together. That's right. We are, and that's every child, every parent gets the benefit from us working together and being a team together as brothers in red and sisters in red. It is, we all make a better community in the thing. We do, and can't be said any better. We are better together.
Yes, for sure. All right. Gosh, man, no better way to end a Monday show than that. I'll tell you, that's one of the highlights of the season for me, Ernie. Great job again, brother. Thank you so much for taking the time to come on and share your story, share your prop, your backstory with us. It's something that some guys can take and build off of. Like I say, tweak it, make it your own. If anyone wants to get in touch with Ernie, of course, you see he's on Facebook, so reach out to him. Pick his brain. Find out how he made it, and who knows, he may even make one for you and charge you a few dollars for it. Who knows?
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you having me on the show, and thank you, Angela, as well. I know about working hard behind the scenes.
Always works
She does.
hard.
She makes the rest of us look good. She is the worker in the bunch. She's the one that has to constantly be, on her toes and plug and play and watching out for the comments and watching out to make sure that we're not, getting too far off script and stuff. But anyway, fantastic job. Thank you, Ernie. Thank you, Randy. Great show as always. Hey, we went an hour and 35 minutes today, so let's get out of here and let everybody get back to what they're doing. Stay cool. Stay out of the heat. Don't overheat. If you go out, drink plenty of fluids. And think about getting one of those thermopyro cooling vests. They'll help.
Yeah.
Till next Monday, thank you so much for Bob, Randyl, Ernie, Angela, and everybody here at Tuesday Night Live Productions. Thank you.
Bye, guys. Have a great one.